Okay, everyone, welcome. It's 8:30 p.m. My name is Ron. I'm an alcoholic. And welcome to the semi-snow blizzard meeting of February, what is it, the 15th, 16th? Our speaker is traveling far away. She's going to be about 2 minutes, she said, 3 minutes. So we're going to go real slow. We do very slow. Anyway, there is a next Friday night, there's a Dr. Bob's benefit dinner down at Georgine's. Beautiful layout. We'll put the flyer in our Facebook group if you're interested in that, or see us after the meeting goes on. They bring in the speaker from outside in California. It's always a beautiful event and good people. If you like networking and being around people that are about recovery, it's a good place to hang out. Same thing with all the workshops and little mini conventions and roundups and things in AA. They're life-changing to spend a whole day at one of those facilities. This is only going to be a night from 6 p.m., I believe, till 10, maybe 11 or something like that. But anyway, this brings us to, we got the world's greatest chairperson all the way in from Canada. Let's give Kara a warm welcome.
Ron, they're not up here. Oh, thank you, Ron. Good evening, y'all. My name is Kara, and I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic. Welcome home, everybody. This is a 1-hour speaker meeting that meets every Saturday evening at St. Paul's Lutheran Church, 301 North Main Street, Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Food and fellowship starts at 8 p.m. and speaker at 8:30 p.m. The business meeting for this group meets every Saturday at 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. right here. Please come early and join us. The purpose of this group is to provide a consistent message of hope and recovery through God, reliance, and service to others through the practice and teachings of the 12 steps. We record all speakers so that others may benefit from their message of recovery. If you wish not to be recorded, simply ask. This is an open meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. The group would like to welcome everyone, especially newcomers. Is there anyone new or from out of town that would like to introduce themselves with their first name? The Conscious Contact Speaker Group encourages sponsorship. Would anyone with the working knowledge of the 12 steps and willing to sponsor, please raise your hands. Are there any announcements for the good of AA? Our sister group is a big book study meeting that meets every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. just up the street at Salem UCC Church, 186 East Court Street, Doylestown. Coffee is on at 6:15. We have meeting lists and big books on easy terms. Please see me or any home group member after the meeting. If you cannot afford a big book, the Conscious Contact Speaker Group will give you one at no charge. Everyone willing to make donations for the purpose of big books and CDs to help those who cannot afford them can put donations in the jar on the table marked Big Book and CD donations. All CDs are available free of charge. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Conscious Contact Speaker Group of Doylestown, PA, and our Facebook group. Subscribe and share. You can find our speakers there. Join our Facebook page to keep informed and share upcoming events and meetings. Now I'd like to introduce my good friend Brian. He's going to come up and read Just for Today, Prayer of Recovery. Let's give Brian a warm welcome. Woo!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brian, and I am an alcoholic. Welcome home. This is Just for Today, a prayer of recovery. Just for today, I will be agreeable. I will look as well as I can, dress becomingly, talk low, act courteously, criticize not one bit, not find fault with anything, and not try to improve or regulate anybody except myself. With that, I'm going to bring Gary up here. Gary's going to read our AA preamble. Help me give a warm welcome to Gary. Hi, I'm Gary. I'm an alcoholic. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, dominations, politics, organizations, or institutions, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any cause. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics achieve sobriety. Now Matthew for the 12 steps.
My name is Matt, and I'm an alcoholic. Let's see if we have those. There we go. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. And next we'll have Kara back up, right?
Our 7th tradition states every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contribution. At this time, I would like to pass the basket. We have no dues or fees, but we have expenses. This group provides many services. Your donations cover food, rent, big book CDs, events, workshops, etc. There is absolutely no smoking on church property. Please take a moment to silence all cell phones and limit movement during the meeting to avoid distractions. Now, I'd like to introduce the speaker as a good friend of the Conscious Contact Speaker Group. Let's give Stacy W. She came all the way from Hamilton, New Jersey. A warm welcome. Woohoo!
Barely. My stuff. Hi guys, I apologize. I'm Stacy and I'm an alcoholic. Wow, I have no idea how you guys drive on these roads. Good for you. Oh my gosh. And of course my glasses were in my back seat the whole time for 52 minutes delayed. And then I'm running outside and my hair's wet and I'm gonna be insecure and that's gonna happen because we're alcoholics. But I want to say that I'm grateful to be here. No travel time is not worth it, you know what I mean? Except for those roads, that was dangerous. Lots of deer. And I only have an Ultima, so, but it doesn't matter. Where we go, how far it is, we go to any lengths, correct? Poor Ron. My God, God bless him. He was calling me, and I could not find the 18 doors to get in, so now it's just a mess. But I apologize, I do. I thank you guys for having me. Let's get to it. 52 minutes of me, great. It's Ron's idea, blame him. No, I'm not kidding. So yes, I'm Stacy and I'm an alcoholic and I'm from Hamilton, New Jersey. Unfortunately, yes, I was born and raised in Trenton, New Jersey. It was a good place. It still is. It has its merits. Every place has it. When I grew up, it was a good neighborhood. I went to Catholic school. Shocker. No. I had sports very much involved in my life, and I say that because my home, and when I grew up, we were kind of raised in a way where you don't talk about what happens in the household. You just kind of white picket fence it, and you just go through the motions, doesn't matter. My mom was a vicious alcoholic. And so was my father, so is my father. And I am a middle child. I have an older sister and a younger brother. So me and my sister are born very close to each other. My sister is my mother's idol, okay? And I was attached to my father. Now, no pun intended, but we had to have my brother because he is Charles Evan Wolfe V, so he was coming. I was supposed to be a boy, shocker. There's traits, no lie. But I wanted, because my mom would show love to my sister, we did not bond. Even now, we do not have the best relationship, unfortunately. And I mean, we physically fought. My mom would beat the crap out of me. And when I got old enough, I fought back. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I have broke my mother's nose. It was that bad. So at a young age, I rebelled. If my sister was pink, I was blue, okay? If she was fast, I was gonna be faster. But in the end, I did love my sister. I was very close to her. I begged her to take me everywhere. Unfortunately, she had to. But we learned everything together, in a way. We're 18 months apart. But in Catholic school, so my sister was not doing well in Catholic school, so she got ripped out. And I was right behind her, even though I did great. I was always a good student. I was always smart, looked smart. Never did me any good. Because then when I became street smart, I just thought I was gonna figure this out, and you're just not getting it. And when I went to public school, I'll say this, I stayed in the parish to play sports, and I played sports all season round. Cheerleading, track, softball, and basketball. Basketball was the love of my life. I always say that was my first drink, I'll say. And I was good. Meet me on the court. No, I'm just kidding, if there is one. But it was a place for me to take my anger out. It was a place for me to learn discipline and just be accountable. And my coaches, one of them just passed. He knew everything. He knew what I was dealing with at home. He'd pick me up for every game, every practice. And it was a place where I got attention. So I'm a middle child, and I didn't realize it then, but like negative attention was attention. Because my dad had my brother now, and I just felt very lost, and that's very common. I could be in a room full of 100 people, and even today, and I still feel like, you'll see it, I'll smile, I'll be the goofy one, we all do it. And I just feel alone, in a way, but not when I came here. It was very different when I came here. Now I love my mother, there's no denying that. I would do anything for her on any given day. But my mother did not get sober until my alcoholism was far gone. I was 23 when I first saw my mother sober. I didn't even recognize her, nor did she recognize me. I'll say this, I lost my virginity young, I experimented young with everything under the sun. Now my neighborhood, we moved to what I call Tramilton. It's Hamilton and Trenton. Really, it's Tramilton. And my neighbors were drug dealers, and it was just very common. So when I went to high school, I was introduced to, I'll say this, the devil's lettuce. Are we keeping it in the bottle? Okay. And I got attached to that first. And I come from an Italian family. We water down the wine at the table. So I don't remember my first drink, probably 6 or 7. But it was significant because I had found something that I felt like I was the smartest, fastest, prettiest girl in the room. You know what I mean? Because other than that, without something, I'm the ugliest, shortest, whatever, in the room. And I didn't even know what I wanted to do with my life at that point. When I got to high school, I only chose to play sports. Basketball, excuse me. I had a scholarship to, it was McCorston at the time, it's Trenton Catholic Academy now. And I had my 500 points by 8th grade. When I tell you, like, I had potential, which we all did. We all have a story, we were all great at something. Do a 6 and 7, hun, just kidding. I knew when I put that ball down in my junior year that I was heading down a path. I would never on any given day put that ball down. A person that lived across the street from me, okay, I'll say this, and I didn't do it, it wasn't until like my 3rd, 4th step that this came out. It was an older man who just fed us kids in the neighborhood, whatever we wanted. And it's unfortunate because, like, for a long time I didn't feel some type of way about it. It was the norm to me. And by my senior year, and everyone's like, you know, junior year, doing their SATs and figuring, I'm gonna go to Ryder and Rutgers, I'm gonna be this and that, and I'm just like, can we just go get drunk in the woods? Like, what's up? I had no idea. I was more than lost. But when I got involved, I'll say, in heavier things, hardcore forms of alcohol, I was 19. I went to Mercer, and I was on the dean's list. Like I said, I was book smart. By 19 and 23, I'll tell you this, because I'm not one to. Well, what does it matter what we used? We all earn the same seat. I promise you that. Okay, no one's bigger, better, smarter in this room, and that's the best thing about it. But by 19, and I went down fast. I was young. To 23, I ended up a homeless prostitute in the streets of Trenton. Pretty drastic. It was like I blinked and my life was gone. And I had always struggled with mental health, depression, as a kid. I just didn't know to call it that. You know, I just thought, like, you go through the motions and you do things, and I just wanted to die. I dropped out of college, and little by little, I'm like, oh, tomorrow I won't do it. Tomorrow never comes. I learned that the hard way. How frizzy is my hair? Oh my God. Here we go. Now, I couch surfed and I did what I had to do to get by, you know, but I pawned heirlooms. There's not much you're gonna say to me that's gonna shock me. I had to grow up fast, learn fast, and it's all gang violence in Trenton. I'll tell you this, a homeless white girl, it was hard. It was very hard. It makes me so upset because, like, there are people that I know that are still out there. I just no longer have anything in common with them. It's drastic, and it's everywhere. It's not just Trenton. Come on now, I'm not repping Trenton. It's not something, you know, that I can change overnight, but I work in this field, and I'll tell you this, I can't save everybody, but I will never stop trying, ever. I learned the hard way that I'm an empath all the way, okay? There's not much I can't relate to, and I don't think in here, no one is looking for sympathy. I'm not here to say, hey, feel bad for me because my parents didn't hang my report card on the fridge. Like, no, nay. But if you have empathy, gladly, I'll take any direction, advice, whatever you have. Because sometimes it's hard when you're in here and you're going through things and someone's like, think. One day at a time. It's like, take a lap, kid. All right. I really I can get caught up in things all the time, and somehow, some way, those slogans, they all make sense. They really do. You just don't see it in the moment. But at 23, okay, again, homeless, whatever for my alcohol, we'll say, I had no idea what AA was. I remember, like, yelling at my mom, like, go to AA. I thought it was like the triple car service, but somehow you got sober there, I guess. No joke, like, I never wanted to be sober. I had accepted that I was gonna die in the streets. I did. There were days when, and I'm gonna keep it real, I didn't have a clean pair of underwear for a week. I thought jumping in a pool was a shower. You know, there's somewhere in our literature that says we go back to animalistic traits. An animal bathes itself, feeds its young. I wasn't doing that. So what am I? And they say, I was the most manipulative, not the most, shocker. You find that in the room too, not unique. But I was the most manipulative, liar, cheater, thief, anything. I would rob my own grandmother. When I went to go make some of my amends, I couldn't because they're not alive anymore. Only an alcoholic, and I've seen it 1,000 times, will judge the guy that's like, he's sitting there on the curb with his whatever, and he's judging the guy with his kid walking him to school, and like only an alcoholic would do that, okay? We are so far into ourselves that at the time there's a feeling of there's no way out. What's the point? And I was so against me, it was like me against the world when I was, my entire life. My mother didn't care for me. Who are you? So I never liked authority. I was raised to do the opposite of whatever you are. If you said I was this, I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm trying to think of everything I could say that could, because I know there's people in this room that have felt that low. I remember in the end, I was homeless. It's called 611, it's a baseball field. And I played t-ball there with my dad. Oh, here I go, this year's. My dad's everything. And I was facing my first felony. I had done check fraud. And I'd love to tell you I was all big and mad. I was scared, okay? I did not want to do time. So I hid, and I had nowhere else to go. And I remember, it's a paintball field back there, and it's all broken down, okay? And when I tell you the bums and the drums, there was a guy there, I called him Bob the Builder, because he helped me fix the one fort. I was like, oh my God, you have nails in your pocket, sir. And he's a drunk, an old man, you know what I mean, served our country, and here he is. We're lighting a fire in the woods, okay? I knew I was going out to do whatever I had to do, and I had a broken mirror. And for a split second, I had seen myself, how far gone I was. I promise you, in those moments, there was no hope. Well, I learned, the more I stayed, that if I'm breathing, there's hope. Any addict or alcoholic, if they are breathing, there is hope. So, when I finally went to rehab for the first time, I saw my mom. It was super fresh, actually, okay? So I was drinking in the bathroom. I came out and I saw my mother. It was the bean aisle. I'll never forget it. The bush beans. I'll never forget it. And there my mother is, sober, looking amazing. I wouldn't tell her that, but she looked amazing. Holy, where'd you come from, woman? And I had again, very toxic. We have been, since I was 8, 9, we would call each other names. I was cursing. Ron, I'm doing my best, okay? My dad's nickname is effing Chuck, okay? I'm not kidding. But I had seen my mother, okay? And she saw me and she goes, again, my mother was the type that, she was a dry drunk. So because she got sober, the whole world's gonna change and I'm gonna become a better person and everything's gonna go her way. Psych. I saw my mom and she looks at me, and those words I just said she looks at me and she says, why can't you just stop? And I literally, verbatim, as my mother said, some of us are meant to die on the streets, and your daughter's taking a hit because of you. Goodbye. Okay? And eventually, I don't know how, but they convinced me to go to rehab in Florida, good old South Florida. I'm sure some of us have taken a trip down there. Now, I had no desire to get sober, no desire. I get on a plane, don't remember it, no idea. I remember I really don't remember it. I must have fell asleep or something, and my head was down, and I must have been biting my tongue, because this golfer guy comes up, in the plane still, we landed, shocker. And he comes over to me and he goes, he must have known I was like a kid going down the south, because it's a common thing down there. And he goes, the plane landed. Because I was biting my tongue, I guess, I went to go speak. And And I was like, how's it down? No idea. No idea. And he actually walked me to the luggage claim. And there was a lady, okay. She said, are you Stacy, blah, blah, blah? I said, no, no. And there I was, heading to my first rehab. Oh my God. Again, I had no plans on staying sober, getting sober, knew what sobriety was, recovery, anything. I was gonna do my little 30-day stint, get my paper, and get out of this felony. That was the goal, okay? Oh my God, and I was sick as a dog. Now, we all know what it's like to withdraw. I have withdrawal next to grown men that are 6'4", couldn't even stand. Oh my God. Alcohol's a slow killer sometimes. You know what I mean? The drugs kill you fast. But I was in a lot of pain, and I swore she was giving meds to people that I wasn't getting. I'm yelling at the nurse or whatever. She's like, sweetheart, you have a real habit, okay? They're just, you know, a little. And the first H&I meeting, I'll never forget it. His name was Mike Moresi. I just broke anonymity, but here we go. He's still sober today. He comes in, okay? I'm a hot mess, express. And I didn't know protocol of meetings. I didn't know anything. And he starts sharing about, I don't try to get hung up on like not having a drink ever again. And I like just shouted in the meeting. I'm like, I'm 23 years old, sir, ma'am, okay? I'm gonna drink again. And I really thought I was going down to South Florida and maybe that I would learn how to drink and drug socially. Like that was what we were gonna do, and have, you know, Mai Tais on the beach. Joke was on me, okay? And there are things that I did in detox that I'm not proud of. Like I was cheeking meds. I mean, I was so not in the mindset of like, I'm gonna get ready here. This is gonna be the rest of my life and it's gonna be great. No idea. I had people spitting meds back in my mouth. That's what I did. I was so far gone. And I keep it honest because, listen, I've done too many 4 steps and 5th steps not to. I have no shame and guilt over it. I know that I help more women and men when I'm honest about it, okay? Me coming up here and saying, hey, I was a little like promiscuous. Oh my God. No, you girl, stop playing. Nay. You soldier. You have to get honest. And I didn't know what that was at 23. I just thought I was gonna go home and crack a Budweiser with my dad. I don't even like beer. But that was the plan, you know, the hops and the beer. What, these? No. But I was not gonna not drink ever again, or not drug or whatever. You know what I mean? I could not concept that. It was not gonna happen, but it was one of those beach days. Let's look at time here. Okay, we have time, plenty of time. 9:30, correct? Okay. Poor Ron. Who is this? Why did I bring her? So I had, again, no concept of like, it was one of the beach days, I'll say this. They took us to the beach or whatever, and like, the ocean is so blue. I'm like, oh my God. I had never been anywhere else but Tramelton, okay? Trenton and Hamilton, that's where I ran, that's where I went. Oh my God, how beautiful it was though, okay? I took every second for granted. I was on vacation. You're in rehab. But it was one of those beach days, and I literally don't know. Something greater than me. Okay, I was sitting there and I thought to myself, if I go home, I'm gonna die. I'm going to die. I used to say, and I won't say what, but I get high in Jersey, I'm gonna die in Jersey. And that's what I thought. It wasn't gonna happen for me. I didn't care about my future. But it was one of the beach days, and I'll say this, the higher power came over me and just said, maybe you should stay. Maybe you should stay here. And I did. And I'm even shocked in myself that I did that. Okay, we're 1,000 miles away from home. I'm having my mother send me like luggage every other week, like clothes. I'm a Jersey girl, so clothes. And I ended up going to a recovery house. Again, first time. What do? There's a curfew. Hun, I'm 23 years old. I can get myself home. No, and you gotta go to this many meetings a week, and you gotta get a sponsor, and you gotta do this, and you gotta do that. And I'm like, what? No idea. And my parents paid $215 a week for 11 months. The parents that I hate, you know, that mom that doesn't love me, paid $215 a week for me to live where y'all vacation. Didn't see it like that at the time. I was like, you owe me this. Your daughter is sober now. Aren't you so happy? And da-da-da. I was so ungrateful. And by the bare minimum, I gathered 2 years. 2 years sober. And that was the scratch of the surface. But I had no gratitude. I had nothing that I believe I have today. But it took what it took for me to see that. Okay? I'm an addict and an alcoholic. I have to touch the fire 5 times to realize the fire's hot. Okay? I'm gonna fall on my face 17 times before I realize I'm gonna fall on my face. Sanity. Okay? Step 2 all day. This hair, I can't. Hello, dress. So I was down there and I was nervous to ask another woman, hey, help me out here, whatever you gotta do. But I was lucky enough where people were always going to meetings. It was a huge recovery place, so that's what I did. I went to meetings every night and I saw a girl that was from my hometown, okay, Gia. And we didn't like each other. I fought her friends. It was just young stuff. And she was sober 2 years at the time. And I guess, you know, it was meant to be because it did work out. I know people have, you know, tough things with sponsors and they have these stories. I've heard it with my sponsees. You know, it's hit or miss. And I was so lucky with all my sponsors. So blessed. Because I hear some things and it makes me sad because that's not what we are or what we do. But I asked her. And that woman who's younger than me, okay? So like I work with I used to work, well, 6 months ago I was working with a lot of veterans, okay? And it's very hard, I was like trying to explain to them how you do this, because this is a man that served our country, this is a man that's lived a full life, and he has to go ask this 28-year-old, you know what I mean, to be a sponsor. It's hard. That's very hard. And I used to say I didn't like women. Women are catty, oh my God. No, honey, I feared women. I can get a man to co-sign my BS all day. Not a woman. Not a woman. That's why women's meetings, it hits different. Hits very different when I'm and I'm sure it's for men too. It's just different. But I didn't care about a women's meeting then. No, nay. I was all, who's here? Oh, he's hot. Whatever got me to a meeting, I'll say. And we started the step work. And again, from experience, I did not have a solid step 1. And I had done my steps down there twice, 3, 4 steps, okay, because you gather resentments in recovery too. Okay, it doesn't stop. Oh my God. And some I never really got, my mother has hit my 4-step a few times. I'm still healing, I'm still processing, that's okay, there's hope. Because I was so angry. It was me, like Tupac all day, okay, I was raised that way. Me against the world type stuff. And, but here's the thing, I was getting attention. I was like living my 20s. I was homeless in a paintball field, okay? And now I'm in South Florida, living the dream. I got introduced to intervention work very early on. And that's what I did. In the end, it wasn't that. I won't call it that. But down in South Florida, you know, there's a lot of recovery. But with a lot of recovery comes a lot of relapse too. So I got with a couple companies and I got licensed as a international licensed interventionist. And I loved it. But then I got greedy. They call it client brokering. They'll say junkie hunting, things like that. Oh, yes. It's a thing. It's still very much a thing. And I despise it. I didn't then. Made me a lot of money. A person made me a lot of money if they went to rehab here and there. But in the beginning, I'm saving the world. Okay? In the beginning, I'm just this. But I'll say this. We started my step work. Okay, I get this job. And I think this is great. And step one, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol and our lives are unmanageable. Now, I knew my life was unmanageable, okay? I didn't have a pot nor a window to throw it out of, okay? Nothing. But I could not accept that I was powerless over one. It didn't matter if it was Benadryl. If the bottle says take one every 6 hours, I read it take 6 every 1 hour. Okay, now, again, that's how I am. I wasn't honest about that. So I held on to what we call a reservation, okay? I said, when I have a year sober, I'll drink. I'll celebrate. Happy, mad, sad, or glad. I didn't realize it then. I drink. I drink. If we're in a good mood, we're celebrating, oh, we're drinking. If I'm sad and depressed, oh, we're drinking. Didn't matter. That's all I knew. It's like robotic almost. But I was not completely honest with her. But like I said, the bare minimum, and I still made it 2 years. Imagine if I actually applied it. Restore me to sanity, step 2, whoa, okay? I'm a crazy, don't ever call me crazy though. No, I'm a crazy Jersey girl, okay? Restore me to sanity. What? Came to believe? Now I was raised and I had a God pushed on me at a very young age, okay? A God I didn't understand. If I punched my sister in the face, I have to do 10 Hail Marys. What? You know, I didn't understand it. But I feared God. I was damned if and I broke commandments, and it's not religious, guys. But that's the God I knew. That's the only God I knew, okay? And I have nothing against anything. What works for you, I love that for you, okay? Because if I had your God, I'd be getting drunk, and if you had mine, I'd be getting drunk. It must be yours. If you can't talk to your higher power like it is your best friend, work on it. Work on it. I know when I'm foxhole praying that I'm in a bad place. I'm like, God, don't get a ticket. I know, right away. I'm like, whoa. When's the last time you talked to your higher power, Stacey? When's the last time you actually kneeled and humbled yourself? Have you been of service? I only know that now after time. Again, 5 times, we're gonna touch that stove. But came to believe is a big part that I think people pass over, like came to, you know? To think that something or anything in my life is working. If you looked at the things that I got away with, oh my God, I should be dead. I should be dead. And I buried a lot of friends, and I'll bury a lot more. But I felt like I had purpose, or something was gonna come of this, just to keep going. It was enough to keep going. She looks at me and she says, when we were on my step 2 and 3, she goes, do you believe that I believe? And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. She said, that's enough to get you started, Stace. It's enough. I don't care if it's a doorknob, she said. I'm sure you guys have heard the doorknob thing. She goes, it's just a way, you have to believe in something greater than yourself. Now me, I thought the sun and the moon rised on me, okay? I really did. But it was enough, I guess, for me to say, okay, let's try this. Now turn my will and my life over to the care of. Step 3, care of. Again, something greater than me. And then we worked on that. She said, can you stop the ocean from hitting the shore, Stace? I said, no, you know. Can you stop day from night? I can't. That is something greater than you. It's greater than you. And again, these little things, just that, it wasn't the big extreme things that I thought I was going through. It was these little things that kept me going. And then I started getting honest in the rooms. Now I'm about 7 months. And I was asked to speak, but for my first time, I said no. And it ended up being the Thanksgiving, like community meeting. I'm like, no, nay, sir. And we had just started my 4-step too. And I'm carrying around this notebook, okay? And every day I'm thinking of like 20 other people. It's not a rush. Now, if anybody, and I also heard a lot of things, if you don't do a 4-step, you're gonna relapse. All these things, you better do a 4-step. I'm like, oh my God. Now me, insecure me, I'm like, does anybody have the answers to this test we're doing? Like, what's happening? Like, I did not know. I just felt like I always did things wrong, even in school. But really, I was writing my life out. You know what I mean? Every person I was resentful for. Every single one. Yeah, you're damn skippy, I carried a notebook around, holy. I went on Facebook and added like 50. I wasn't gonna think of it in one shot. But something happened writing those, okay? Now, for example, this is what happens on a fifth step. Now, it was a hurricane, this is right before I speak. It's a hurricane, so it's like, oh, it's the moment. You know, because they say you might have, sometimes everybody was saying you have a spiritual awakening possibly on the fourth step. And here I am like anticipating this stuff. Like, it's gonna happen that way. Everyone's recovery is different. Wow, that's shaky, let's not. Everyone's recovery looks different. Doesn't matter, okay? But I got on it, so I use this example all the time. Joe Sullivan, okay? Joe stole my candy in the 3rd grade. It's a real thing, okay? He lived down the street from me. In high school, he had a blue Subaru. Every time he passed, I would be like, I resented him for stealing my candy in the 3rd grade. We were never gonna be friends again, okay? We're enemies. I'm 18, what? But I harbored that resentment. So when we finally did my 5th step and I wrote it down, oh, and I was angry writing it down. That can't stop me. I don't know if you guys remember Sips Iced Tea, like little Sips Iced Tea, okay, I love them. Huh? I had stole, and I didn't know this for almost, 15 years. That I had stole his Sips Iced Tea a week before that. Never did I see the story like that though. Ever. And I mean like, I was very mean to that kid. But I never saw it like that. I had held this ugly whatever in my gut for 15 years because he stole my candy. That's just a dumb example, but it's the truth. And then the more and more we were doing these, and I'm like, a lot of them sounded familiar and alike, and they all, in a head, like, I had never seen my part in things. No wonder you're angry, Stace. You look at the world like everyone's against you. I caused a lot of harm that I didn't know. I had no idea. And little humble me, okay, I'm calling my dad to tell me, buy a scooter. Everyone down here is driving a scooter. They do, like these little mopeds, okay? I thought it was so cool. I had no humility. I'm begging, I'm saying, I need something to get around with. Da-da-da-da. Who sent me over $1,000 to get a scooter? Those parents I hated, you know what I mean? And there I was in a moped, and Tao still have it. It's a thing. But I had to speak at this meeting, okay? And I'm grateful that I did a 4-step. Because I went up there and I said everything honestly. Everything honestly. I talked about my prostitution, I did whatever. And I didn't feel, when I said it to one person, okay, these certain things, that person looked at me and said, wow, that happened to me too. Do you understand how freeing that is, that like disgusting pain you feel? Like molestation, things like that. Like, I felt so ugly. And I buried things in my gut so far, when they came out, they're not gonna be the truth, hun. Because you had to live with it. That's what a sponsor's for, okay? To hold up the mirror for you sometimes. But that Me Too moment, I could say it in front of a room full of thousands. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I am not alone. Okay. And it came out really good. If you put me up there to talk about algebra, we're done. Okay, take a lap. But to go up there and talk about my life, and to be honest, for the first time in my life, it was amazing. It was so awesome to do that. But after that, like I said, humble me, I'm on my character defects, my shortcomings, okay? Now I think I'm perfect. So when that woman looked at me and she said, you are self-centered, you are guy crazy. I'm like, woman, I just came from, she said I was, here's a good example, that I was entitled. A lot of these things that like, I was at the time, I didn't want to hear it then though. You were not gonna tell me that. I just came from being lucky if I got a half can of Arizona out of the garbage. And you're gonna tell me that I'm entitled? You're gonna tell me that I'm entitled, okay? Coming from the drums and the bums in the paintball field, you're gonna tell me I'm entitled. Okay, great, all right. Well, when you know a thing or two about yourself, you'll start seeing it everywhere. Everywhere. And like I said, with 7, we all have a story. It's about how are you telling it honestly? Have you gotten to the root of things? Now, I made the list. Now, no one wants to hear, let's talk about 8, amends. No one wants to hear, I'm sorry. I've abused and used that word so many times, I have no right to even say it, because I have no idea what it means, okay? And I wrote all these amazing letters, and I finally went home at 8 months to see my family. And it was amazing, honestly. But I had to make an amends to my little brother. It was the best amends I've ever made in my life. But I messed up. I said that I would never get home. After that amends, that I would never get drunk or high again. My brother had forgiven me for some things. I was horrible to him because I thought I had to be the tough older sister, and because he didn't have a brother and he's 6 years younger than us. I love my brother, but we don't speak today. But I made those amends and I wrote all these amazing letters, and my parents looked at me and I said, I know I financially owe you money. And they just said, we just want you to stay sober, Stace. Go back, keep going. I'm like, what? I owe you like 100 grand, woman. Yeah, don't worry. A lot of people went, don't worry about it. I'm like, what? I'm like, I robbed you 16 times. Are you sure, sir? But it's this, okay? No one wants to hear I'm sorry. It's what can you do from this point forward to make it right? Not for you, but for them. I've had people told me to go myself. Okay? I don't fight back like, oh, you have to take my apology. No. They have a right to feel any type of way that they want. They do. I didn't love it. There are people that now are still on my maybe list. There are people that were on that maybe list that I had a chance to speak to, and I'll never regret going up and saying, I know this happened, blah, 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 and whatever you need. Sometimes those are the most beautiful ones. The ones you don't want to make. 10. Now, I call 10 like a mini 4-step. Where are you self-centered? Where are you dishonest? Where are you self-seeking? Okay? Now, I don't really harbor things anymore. If I hurt someone's feelings, okay, because I'm a blunt, loud, cursing, not once, Ron, we're doing good, Jersey girl, okay? I tend to say things out of my mouth that I really have no right saying. But now I don't harbor it. Like if I hurt someone, I go right up. I'm like, I said that wrong. I totally said that wrong. I did not, I don't want to keep, because I've seen 8 4-steps, okay? 8. Okay, little angry Stacy has 4 steps. I don't want to keep adding and adding and adding. Like, and I don't, I'll do another 800 4-steps. As long as I get to, as long as I continue to stay sober. 11, okay, so prayer and meditation. I'm ADHD, squirrel, done, okay. It's hard for me to sit and just like be like one with the sand is with me, okay. I struggle with that. But when we worked on it, it was the first time, I don't know if you guys have heard the footprints in the sand quote, oh, so beautiful, oh my God. I had that moment. It was like my spiritual awakening, that my God was always with me. Why'd you abandon me in my darkest times? No, my man, he was carrying me. She was carrying me, it was carrying me. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. To carry that message, okay? To be of service, even if I'm late, Ron. Okay? And again, 2 years I got. I opened my own company. I was the first kid to have an apartment. Whoa. And I got greedy in the end, and my sponsor moved home. I'm gonna shut up. What do I got? 10 minutes? Do I go to the 30? Ron. We love Ron. I got greedy in the end, and my sponsor moved home, and I thought I had this. And I'm gonna tell you this. The second you think you have this, you better let it go. Immediately, okay? And guess what? I relapsed. Bad. And I'm like, they keep saying when you relapse, it gets worse. How does it get worse from a homeless, whatever, alcoholic? How does it get worse than that? Oh, God. It does, okay? Those hotels on A1A down in Florida that I was saving people out of, I ended up in, okay? And guess who came down and saved me? Guess, my mother. My mom. And she did everything, and things that she did, she bought me medication off the street just to get me home. She was a gangster when she was down there. I had never met this woman, no. She did everything, and I had 2 gerbils too, it was crazy. Oh my God. She did everything and everything, we got home. But I'll tell you this, that depression that I told you guys I dealt with, for the first time in my life, I try to find the words of it. It's not a feeling when you're there. I wanted to die when I got home. I knew when I landed in Jersey I was gonna kill myself. I knew it. And I had done the attention seeking, I'm gonna kill myself stuff, and like cut my arm up here and be like, I'm dying. Yes, I've done it. This was not that. I knew certain forms of alcohol would kill me. I hadn't been there in 3 years. I wrote a suicide note. And I don't remember any of it. I can't tell. It wasn't a feeling. It's just like, it's the best answer, I'll say. And I've been there twice in my life. I was home not even 36 hours, and I don't remember it, okay? I was Narcan 4 times and woke up with breathing tubes, and I was angry. My dad was sitting there, and I didn't have like IVs or anything, but I had like breathing tubes in my nose, and I ripped them out, and I'm screaming, like spitting, screaming in his face. My dad. This was the answer. Da-da-da. Why would you do? And I'd love to tell you I stayed sober, I didn't. I was on a mission to die. I'll say this, I don't think anybody knows the day that they're gonna get sober again. I had finally made it out, and I was like that success story that like got out, and I was never gonna show my face in the rooms of AA in Hamilton or Trenton or the tri-state area, because I had no humility. But my pride and ego kept me out, and it kept me out longer than it ever brought me back. But February 5th, 2016, okay, I'll say this, a lot of 4 steps of this too. I put myself in a situation where you can't really rape the willing. I did something, and I was pistol whipped, and it was ugly, I'll say. And I was in a bando and all that, and we're going down to Chips. If you want to know details, come to me after. And I walked home with a broken nose, and I hadn't been home in about 6 months. And I just kept walking. Cars were stopping, like, can I help you? I just kept walking. And my mom was leaving for work. I was like a block away, and she saw me, she's like, get out of here. I just kept walking towards her, and I gave her, I carried my alcohol in an iPhone box, okay, where you get your phone in. And not on my best day, I gave it to her. I said, take this and let me in the house. You gotta let me in, Mom, I'm gonna die. And I'll say this, I wanted to live maybe 1% more than I wanted to die that day, but it was enough. And I detoxed myself in my room. I ripped the carpet off my floor just for the cold tile. My dad didn't even know what to do. He slid a bucket in with 5 waters in it. He didn't know. He's like, they don't know. And a friend called me. And he said, do you want to go to a meeting? And I was like, oh my God, no. And he said NA too. I was like, no. Huh, I don't do drugs. And when I did go. I don't know how, but I did go. And I walked in, and a man named Doc, and he's still in my life. He came up to me and he hugged me. And I'll say this, it was a hug that I didn't want, but I needed. But I so needed. Whoo, I probably smelled like I don't even know, okay? And I've held on to my seat, okay? I'm an AA now, but I held on to my seat for the last 9 years and I haven't found a good enough reason to let go. I just celebrated on the 5th 9 years, and I know now that I'm powerless over drugs and alcohol. My life is unmanageable. I know that if I touch that fire, it's gonna burn my hand. Everyone has a story. Everyone's important, you know. Again, I got lucky with sponsorship. I adore my sponsor. She's like the version of me from Philly, but like the refined good version, okay? And she tells me how it is. She told me tonight, like, you better not use your ghetto, sassy attitude. I was like, what, woman? What'd you just say to me? But I need that all the time. I've heard about myself so much in the last 9 years because I need to, okay? And sponsees, they help me way more than I can ever help them. Oh my God. And it's always when I'm like in a bad place, someone's like, can you sponsor me? I'm like, I want to selfishly watch Netflix. No, I love it. I love it. How could I not give back what was so freely given to me? People bought me coffee when I didn't have a dime, okay? People said, you want to go bowling? I'm like, bowling? Bowling? I had so much fun. So much fun. But at first I'm like, you're all corny. Y'all are corny. Y'all ain't sober. Stop playing. But it was you guys. It was the people in these rooms. This was my home. And I never thought I would find it in my hometown. You know what I mean? I got clean and sober in the same room I died in. Oh my gosh. I became a godmother. They say you have a life beyond your wildest dreams. I was grateful to turn 30 alive. I was grateful to make it to 30. I remember, and I'll say this, and I'll shut up. This is what it's like for me, okay? And I always go back to this moment. When I first got sober, I remember being grateful for the ice cubes in my cup. Ice cubes, okay? A clean cup, okay? We had a hammock for our bananas. Like, what? I don't even have a hammock. What the hell? I needed to learn gratitude. But you don't learn it. I almost mimicked it for a while. I mimicked my sponsor until it was a part of me. I wrote something when I was about 60 days sober, and I'll end with this, Ron, okay? If you didn't get anything out of what I said, which could be a thing, absolutely, I promise you this, my delivery is not always the best. But the gratitude I have for all of you, for just coming, holding my hand and all that, is beyond anything I could give back. But without further ado, I want to take this time to share a few words with you all. I come from a place where love is not an easy thing to come by. No, let's not cry. But you all taught me that it's okay not to have love, but to have the strength to be capable of earning it. This has not been an easy journey for me. I did not want to accept or even admit that I needed help in my disease. My ego would not allow it. But when I came here, I realized I was no longer alone. You all have welcomed me with open arms. And you all have taught me that no matter where you're from, no matter the color of your skin, or no matter the trials in your life, but that we have all faced the same demons and conquered them, not only with pride, but with true dignity. We now have the opportunity to live the lives we have always dreamed of, and more important, to lead the lives we were destined to lead. I want to thank each and every one of you for all the kind words and the wisdom that you have embedded in me for life. I have learned patience, courage, power, strength, and I have all of you to thank for that. They say our past does not define who we are. They are only the footprints to your future. So I walk away now, not alone, but with each and every one of you in my heart forever. And I want you all to know that I will stand and fight with you. Win, lose, or draw, I will never leave your side. I will hold your hand through hell or high water, and I will promise you that we will come out on the other side, not alone, but together. Whoa. And I want you all to do one thing and one thing only. To walk in life with your head held high. And if you must look back, let it only be to make sure that I'm still behind you. Thank you.
Okay, good evening again, everybody. My name's Ryan. I'm an alcoholic. First and foremost, I want to thank our speaker, Stacy, for coming out here tonight, delivering an incredible message of hope and recovery to our group here. A couple quick announcements and we'll close things down. As was mentioned before the meeting, we have food and fellowship every week here starting at 8 o'clock, so feel free to get here early. Enjoy the coffee, the refreshments we put out. If you want to get involved with this group, get into some service, we'd appreciate that too. This group is all about service. We have a running commitment up in Quakertown every Sunday night. We do an H&I commitment up there at a treatment center. So if you'd be interested in doing something like that, going up there, see me, see Ron after the meeting. What else? We could always use some help after the meeting, putting away the chairs.